Yeah. Look out your window. Knicks fans is on your block. Y'all know the Knicks run the city. Pull them shades back. Look out your window. Look down there on the block. That's Knicks fans right there. It's about that time. It's about that time of the week where you get ready for your work week with a man that is so smooth he does not require a chaser. Your main man, the real, still the real Anthony D. And your main man, Jersey's finest, the hood representative, Uncle Freezy. Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's number one chief rocking this universe, man, Uncle Freezy. I'm joined by the man that is just so smooth that he does not require a chaser. And you are now watching the premier Knicks jump off to your week show, Old School Knicks.
Absolutely.
Anthony D, guess what I heard this week about 3 times, and I wanted to talk with you about it.
Oh, I can't guess, so you might as well just tell me.
You and him walking in the rain.
Walking in the rain.
Holding hands and bro, what in the world was going on, bro? Yo, you cheating on Orange Juice Jones, bro?
I know. I had to throw on the God for a hot second. You know, as we were saying, because obviously me and Freezy was talking about this before he hopped on. We didn't know that artists could talk to women like that.
No, I had no idea.
Even as playfully and as kind of seducing as it is for young men or whatever, he literally goes into a whole escapades of disrespect.
Yes.
Yeah. Non-stop. And when he gets to that alley cat coat wearing, hush puppy shoe wearing, and I saw you with, because you dismissed.
Oh my God, bro.
This is the juice.
Yo, oh my God, bro.
When he hit him with, this is the juice. That was it. But this is before rappers started disrespecting ladies.
Yeah.
We forget. There were a lot of, I don't want to say a lot, but there were some artists and so forth that wasn't as squeaky clean as they are made to be seen. The late great Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the rappers at the time, and even now, still, it was, let's point to them. They're the easy target. Let's crush their CDs. Let's try and crush their dreams and hopes. But people were already doing it.
Yeah, people were already doing it.
They were already doing it. Shout out to Orange Juice Jones. Love that record, but it was disrespectful. Very.
Disrespectful?
Very.
That lady probably can't even show her face.
Walking in the rain.
and for those that don't remember, like years ago, when an artist put the word rain in a song, that meant sad.
Yeah.
That
meant
sad.
How about that?
Back in the day, anytime a song had rain in it, that means it's setting the mood.
Long before Fat Joe. Long before Making It Rain.
Long before it changed. Long before it changed, man. You know what I'm saying? Long before it changed, like, bro, like, what's the deal? Like, you know what I'm saying? You like, I saw you and him walking in the rain, bro. That means he saw both of y'all and both of y'all was sad.
And I was about to run up and flat jam both of you. But hold on. When you jam, that means the gun is gonna jam.
Yeah, man.
So he's about to say, freeze. This ain't about to work, but freeze.
That's crazy.
I
Yeah,
can't.
man, that is
I
crazy.
cannot. Music and entertainment. What's going on? Good morning, Freezy. I didn't even tell the
Hey, good
Nick
morning.
Nation. Nick Nation deserves more than that. Good morning to Nick Nation on this
Good mornings. Good mornings, y'all.
on this August rainy Sunday over here at least. Where we at, Uncle Freezy?
It's sad there too.
Yes. It's been sad here for like a day and a half. It's raining
Oh my
crazy up
gosh.
here, yo.
Oh my gosh. So everybody, the it's funny. It's funny that AD and I get on track and off track at the same time, right? Part of the old school Knicks vibe is, the feeling of setting the tone for, an era, and while at the same time, having a real Knicks conversation. So what we want to talk about today is
Not to cut you, Freezy. There's a question there I think you may want to pay attention to from Rome Far Rock.
okay.
I'm not sure if that's to us or someone in the chat. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, I see it. So okay. So I was working on two things at once, but listen, I
Mhm.
didn't even get to shout out everybody either. So before I read the question, let me shout out the crew. Andios is in the building. Salute. Hey, Andrew Collins, hey, what's good? Andrew Collins, hey, me and AD and I do boxing sometimes on Playback TV, bro. You got to come through, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to come through because some of
And
them
check out that last one because Freezy was absolutely besides
I was
himself.
having a meltdown, bro.
The man was besides himself.
I'm still melted
He
down, bro.
looking for Richard Steele hard. Like pause. He looking for Richard
Bro,
Steele.
if I see you, bro. You know what? You know what? I say this to Richard Steele, but I won't be able to get there because somebody will stop the fight.
That's right. All pun intended.
All pun intended. All pun intended. But yeah, so College, yeah. What next time we do a boxing thing and I see you, you know what? I'm a go to your page and send you a message. College, I'm gonna go to your page and send you a message the next time we do something. But shout out to Andrew College. Shout out to State. State is in the building. King Ribby is in the building. Salute everybody watching and that have not commented. Salute to everybody watching on X. I promise you, I'll do a better job with the folks on X. Man, we like having y'all, and thank y'all for supporting us on X, formerly known as Twitter, with all your likes and comments and the fact that y'all follow. Man, we appreciate y'all. But yeah, how do you become a member? Right. So how you become a member is by going to the Florence Tears YouTube page. Is YouTube/Florence Tears, locating the Florence Tears icon, and in the 4 o'clock direction from there, you'll see the join button, and click on the join button and pick on whichever tally that you like, and then you'll be a member. You'll get special perks like getting the member show. It's only for members, right? You'll get the member show, and then we have some other stuff. Everybody, but well, not everybody, but I talked to Anthony D about this earlier today. That we're gonna make small tweaks to the channel, in order to ensure that everyone gets the best experience they possibly can. So that's in the works, but we just hadn't finished that yet.
And leave
Once
a
I get,
comment.
huh?
Leave a comment to everyone that I mean, at least I read the comments, and I want to say I speak for Freezy as well. Leave a comment. There's something you want to see. You want us to delve in more. You know what I'm saying? This is
Yeah.
this is not an autonomy type of situation unless Freezy got to throw down the gauntlet. He got to go back to the gap and say, leave a comment. You know what I'm saying? Leave something, suggestions, whatever. You know what I mean? It's YouTube family.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Freeze.
No. And so my question for you, Anthony D, is this. I know how you love Jalen Brunson, bro. and I love Jalen Brunson too, in a different way, right?
That just sounded real bad.
And I know and I know how you love Bernard King, right? And I love Bernard King too, in a different way. And you know why I'm split on Bernard King. It has nothing to do with Bernard King himself. It has everything to do with how we acquired Bernard King, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm gonna ask you this for the sake of conversation. I'm gonna ask you this, and I want the chat to participate also in this thing, right? Is Jalen Brunson the greatest scorer in Knicks history? The easy answer is absolutely yes, right? But the difficult, to me, the easy answer is yes. But the difficult part of this is persuading people that have seen Bernard King, that have seen Carmelo Anthony, convincing them to set aside their Bernard King and Carmelo Anthony bias and just agree with me that Jalen Brunson is the greatest in-season scorer, maybe greatest scorer in Knicks history. Anthony, do you agree?
Okay, no, and I guess that's the end of the show. All right. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for joining us. It was a lovely time. Watch your doors as you go home. But
tip your waitress.
You know what I'm saying? No, he's not. And that's, no disrespect to Jalen. When I think of a great scorer, especially for the three that you mentioned, so let's leave it to the three that you mentioned. Out of the three, who's the better scorer out of the three? Is that better? That fair? Or you just want to do overall greatest?
No, it's not really fair, but I get where you're. In order to streamline the conversation, I get that part.
All right, but anyone can just pop in. Maybe we'll throw up a poll. Who you think the greatest Knicks scorer is? But just to roll along with the convo. You know what I mean? That's what teamwork makes the dream work, baby. You know how we do.
Yeah.
Shaq and Kobe. You know what I mean? But to me, the great scorers are not just the great scorers when things are going well and when you're feeling good. You know what I mean? When you wake up in the morning and everything is right, the eggs is good, the bacon is crispy, mom is all right, and the wife ain't run through the entire credit card limit that you gave her for the week. Not even the month, but the week.
AD, don't put all our business. You ain't got to put all our business out there. You could have stretched it out a little bit, bro. You could have stretched it out a little bit. I mean, in the first 10 minutes of the show.
We got to go for the juggler. We got to go for the juggler right away.
That man don't play. He MMA style, bro. He does not play, bro.
But let's look at Bernard. For me, his key performance for me, it's not even the Boston series. It's not even the 83 series against Philly. It's Detroit. The final game of his 40-40-40, 40-40, right? Man is sick. It's not just growing in time, going in his legend, 103-degree fever, 2 broken fingers or dislocated fingers on each hand, and, dragging up a core of Knicks guys that are not on his level. He did that. And also fighting off of a raging marauder who scores 16 points in 93 seconds.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So when you scoring, it's not just that you scoring. You looking on the other side, who's your main guy going, damn, he ain't missed a shot this whole quarter.
Right.
Right. Melo.
Can I chime in on the Bernard King thing?
Of course.
So it's a shame in my mind. It's a shame in my mind that when you played about 40 years, because the era we're talking about is 40 years ago, right? It's a shame that we don't list Bob McAdoo in the conversation. It's a shame that we don't list Spencer Haywood. It's a travesty that Patrick Ewing
is
not in the conversation, right? But the thing about it is, when you're a scorer, you're talking about being a dynamic on fire. Nobody in the league can guard you for like 2 hours of real lifetime. For 2 hours, nobody can guard you at the rim, away from the rim, in transition. I mean, you get to the free throw line, bro. It's one of them things where it's like, when you talk about a list of greatest Knicks scorers of all time, you could probably put these guys up there with anybody that has ever played the game, but we won't, because that's a separate conversation. Right. But when you're talking about the greatest Knicks scorers of all time, bro, oh my goodness. I hate to give it to the new guy out of respect from, you know how much I love Pat Ewing, bro. Right. You know how much I love Pat, right? I hate to give it to the new guy just off of that, but Jalen Brunson is dynamic, bro.
He is. JB, he's totally dynamic, and he showed it in this past playoffs. I think, didn't he break Bernard's record?
Yeah, I think so.
Right? And he's like right there in all-time 40s in a row or point average, something. I'm messing it up. Knicks fans, you can correct me. Right? If he has to load up and bust to the last bullet, he's one of those guys.
Right.
That's no disrespect. But like I said, just finishing with BK here for a second. I watched some footage of him last week where the entire front court defense was shifted to this man.
Yes. They were double teaming with a dude in the passing lane on him.
Right? And illegal defense wasn't something they just randomly called back then.
Nah.
But when you look at it, I'm like, is the cameraman's angle off? Like, no, it's not off. There's logistic. 3 guys. His guy, the small forward, whoever the power forward was, the center is coming over on the backside, or the guard who's closest to him is sliding over.
Depending on the team. Yeah, depending on the team.
The ball barely goes over 3 defenders' hands. He catches, turns, one motion. Ha! And it's not from 5 feet. It's from about 15 because he does the fade. Catch, turn, fade. Either shoulder. Catch, turn, fade. Yeah. Right? With guys hanging all over him. Melo, same kinds of things. When we used to watch Melo, we call him, say things like ball hog and ISO, this, that, and the third. And, people who really don't know basketball would say nonsense like that. Right?
Right.
As if it's easy to get points in this league. You have to, especially as a flat-out scorer who's coming from college, high school, there's a transitional period where you have to now learn how to score on the professional level.
Right.
See? There's a difference. A lot of cats we seen in college, tremendous college scorers. Hershey Hawkins, 33 points.
Kenny Walker.
What was my guy up in Temple? Macon. I think
Mark
Macon. I think Detroit drafted him. Tremendous college scorer.
Randolph Childress.
Tremendous college scorer.
Bro.
A lot of these guys. Tremendous college people. Right? Scoring, all of that. In the NBA, it's a whole nother story. And you would think it would be easier because in the NBA for a long time, they didn't play zone.
Right.
But it's a whole nother day. Walter Berry. Right?
And a local, bro, who didn't love, first of all, who didn't love Walter Berry? I'm just, bro, who didn't think Walter Berry was going to be the GOAT coming out, bro?
When the Knicks didn't draft Walter Berry, I was besides myself.
Oh, my God, bro.
I was besides myself.
Bro, you remember Quarter Waters?
Oh,
Bro, I legit slammed a quarter water in the concrete when I found out the Knicks didn't get Walter Perry, bro. And it's kids. Now, mind you, when you're young, a quarter, it's only a quarter. But a lot of kids didn't necessarily have that quarter.
That's a lot of money. That's a
Yeah,
lot of money
you know
for a
what I'm saying?
7-year-old.
Bro,
That's
yes.
a lot of money. Because
Bro.
25 cents, you can literally divide. You'll get some Nolators, grape heads, Chico sticks, and a couple other things you can get for 25 cents. But when you chose to spend down your entire
Bro,
pocket change
in the concrete, bro, in the concrete.
I
Yes.
wish I saw somebody selling some quarter water today. If I would buy a stack. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Quarter water? No.
Yeah, bro, kid. Well, just real quick, not changing the subject, but down here they sell them, right? They, of course, they are repurposed, reinvented, reimagined, whatever you want to call it. Like they don't call them quarter waters no more. I think they're hug juices. Like they're hug juices, right? You know, it gives you the sensation. Oh, I get a hug if I get a juice. Whatever.
You running on a dead stream into Poppy's corner bodega, out of breath. Yeah. Get to the, fumble up. This one we still were using pennies. Fumble up everything you get. Then you got like 21 cents. And Poppy looking at you like, all right, go ahead.
Bro, yes, man, yeah. And so so guys like that, bro, it makes you, it puts you in that mindset of scoring in the NBA is not easy. That's why you got to respect the greatness of Michael Jordan, of Dominique Wilkins, of George Gervin, of the great Alex English, great scorer, great man. AD, I know I tell the story all the time about how I had interactions with him. He don't even know me probably, but just short interactions, bro. Just kind, bro. Just like, hey man, listen, don't worry about it. Just keep grinding. Just small stuff, bro. He ain't had to tell me nothing.
Right.
And he just, share a little, man. But anyway, on the scoring front, bro, AD, I'm with you, bro. That's why when we talk about Jalen Brunson's ability to fill up the basket, bro, I think we got to give credit to that man for being one of the greatest scorers in Knicks history, bro. Oh. And it's only been 2 years and playoffs.
Absolutely. But I think, and fans in the chat, you could chime in. I think some of the things that we take away from him because he's scoring so much because he's playing the point guard.
Right.
And for a lot of us, we envision a different day for a point guard. We remember 20, 25 years ago when the point guard wasn't necessarily the focus of the constant attack. Now, if you don't have one in the league, you're done. Right? The game is played differently. See what I'm saying? It used to be once upon a time it was, the center for a long time, then the wing. But now the focus of it now is the point. And you don't mind if your point jacks up a 35-footer, a la Steph.
Right.
I argue this all the time with people. I'm like, Steph to me is not a point. He's a scorer.
Right.
Right? Can he ball handle and sure, but that's not. They don't play that type of offense where the point guard is the one that distributes no. Draymond does more distribution in the prime of their careers playing together. Draymond was doing way more ball distribution than he was.
Right. And distributing the ball don't always lead to assists. So for those that just compare distribution to assists, it's not always the same because Julius Randle could distribute also, and it doesn't necessarily hit in the assist column. Sometimes it's the pass that leads to the pass that leads to the made basket. So, but I get
in our mind's eye, we forget past 2, 3, and 4. We just think the point guard made that pass and there you go.
Yeah.
Doesn't even matter if it comes back to him and he shoots it and scores. See what I'm saying? But to those guys, getting a basket like for Melo,
Right.
Look at Melo's first year as Amari gets hurt, or before the playoffs, and I think I spoke a little bit about this last week, but as Amari gets hurt, or the week before, right? As Amari gets hurt, Melo is dragging the team during that final 2 weeks, right? Of nothing but straight scoring. Look at Melo's, I've said this before, look at Melo's first 4 years in the Knicks, his March and April. His March and April, those are the times where you're ramping up for the playoffs. His March and April is disgustingly good.
Right. And on that note, AD, that's the reason why I don't put Porzingis in any conversation. Because in his March and Aprils, he didn't even play. That's what. But anyway, I digress. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
No, but you see what I'm saying? Sometimes we look at the scorer and we listen to outside noise to help us gain an understanding of why this person is scoring so much. Right. Versus you'd rather somebody else shooting a shot?
No.
In a certain moment, you'd rather somebody else taking the shot? I don't care how many big moments they are. You see what I'm saying? This isn't a situation where, well, you took 5 shots, so obviously you can't take 6. Would you rather Elfrid Payton shooting the shot?
Bro, I hear that a lot, and to me, it's still disgusting. I agree with you, and I'm glad you brought that up. And if I may add just a little bit, I don't mind Jalen Brunson shooting the ball as much as he humanly can. Where my consternation or pushback, maybe even peel back, where my peel back is when others are also in that zone. She had a basketball. Right. There was Dante DiVincenzo could have scored 55 points in that game 7 against Indiana. That man was, for a role play. We have never seen a role player in a playoff game be as hot as Dante DiVincenzo in that game 7. We actually had 2 of them. Burks to an extent, right? Burks was on fire and DiVincenzo was on fire. Now, if we're talking about just basketball IQ and playing the game, if Brunson is struggling and those 2 are on fire, man, pass the ball, right? But if Brunson is in his zone, bro, you better not pass at all, right? You take it out. It don't matter. They touch it if they get a rebound, right? That's how I'm feeling if you in the zone, right? But if you're not in the zone, then pass that ball. So I felt like I needed to add that to the conversation, because being a ball hog is one thing, and then being in the zone is another. Now, the thing about Carmelo and Bernard King is those guys, I think we can agree, played on less talented teams than Jalen Brunson for the most part.
Oh, absolutely.
There were a couple of good seasons for both, or maybe a season and a half of great team play in both.
Bernard never played with another All-NBA player.
Huh?
Bernard never played with another All-NBA player in the Knicks uniform.
Right.
So did Carmelo. See what I'm saying? Right. Jalen Brunson has played with another All-NBA player.
Yeah, one that developed in New York and one that developed in Dallas.
You know what I'm saying? But to your point, though, the floor general is the one who recognizes somebody's hot.
Right.
Or they're not going to let you get off today. I remember a game in particularly when Jason Kidd was here, that 54-win season. It's the San Antonio game in San Antonio. And he said they told Melo before the game, Pop is going to take you out of the game.
Right.
Right? So we're doing something. Uncle Ray is going to eat this up here. It's literally like Kidd was prophesizing what was going to happen.
Yeah.
If you look in Uncle Ray's career, right here in the Knicks, there's 2 games, but that one, I'm gonna stay with that game right there. The game against Miami for Uncle Ray, and this San Antonio game here, where Uncle Ray is absolutely destroying San Antonio.
Right.
And Melo's kind of the decoy.
Right.
I think he had like 28, I think it was 28 and 12 or something like that. I remember Uncle Ray here. Uncle Ray here, and I'm glad we brought this. I don't think we've ever really talked about Raymond Felton here on these waves. Right? But here's a perfect play, kind of like in the Dante DiVincenzo, but different. This is a playoff moment, right? Where it's designed to go to him, and Melo's designed as the decoy, so to speak. Not that Melo wasn't shooting the game, but as the game plays out, you saw how San Antonio was gearing their defense against Melo. So instead of him having to, Melo was, Melo liked to get it going early.
Right.
First quarter. Melo gets hot early first quarter, right? And kind of carries on.
That way you know what kind of game he's having.
Right. Because he would get in his 1-2. He'd get in that 1-2, quick step, quick jab step, coming off of ball comes out, return, whatever, goes around the perimeter, Melo gets it, boom, right? All of that into his rhythm. This was a game where it wasn't meant for him to do that.
Right.
See what I'm saying? And the floor journal, which was Kid at the moment, and Kid was probably the leader of the team, if you really want to keep it a buck, that 54 win season, right? But it was geared towards someone else that day. Do we think of Raymond Felton as a scorer ever in his career? Ever?
Not in the NBA, no.
No. But at that moment, that time, that game, the design was to go to him. Right? But with Melo was just a beautiful scorer. That's another thing when we talk about scoring. There's guys that get hard buckets.
Jalen Brunson is a hard bucket getter.
Yes, Brunson would be a hard bucket getter, right? Not all the time, but versus, because remember his job, he still has to floor general.
Yeah, he should.
The scorer per se, get me the next shot, pass me the ball, pass me the ball, pass me the ball, pass me the ball. And that's supposed to be his feeling.
Right.
But with Melo could just, that guy could just, he could just.
When you 6'8", 240, bro, you can, and athletic, by the way. When you're
athletic.
And when you're 6'8", 2, Melo was, I hate to say it in this term, but I have to say it in a term that people can, so everybody can understand my train of thought. But in terms of the small forward position, Melo was a thought, right? Melo was a thought at the small forward position, right? Melo was thick. Melo was a thick small forward. Melo was thick like a kindergarten pencil at the small forward position, right?
Yes.
So Melo was thick like the New York phone book at the small forward position, right? The thing is with a Carmelo Anthony, right? He had just enough athleticism throughout his career where he could just raise up and smoothly put the bird in the nest, right? Or he could jab step pump. He can get into his Adrian Dantley. Jab step, pump fake, rip through, jab step, pump fake, rip through, jab step, and get you to eventually commit to something and get the defender off balance and just go up and score.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the also the thing about Melo is the reason why I have Melo on the greatest Knicks scorers list is when another scorer came to town, he took it personally, right? He took it personally. Like when Vince Carter came to town, bro, another scorer is on the floor. Melo is like, bruh, who were the scorers in 2011? Kevin Durant. When Kevin Durant came to town, bro, you getting the very best of Melo, bro. I'm sorry.
As you should, because for a lot of years, before Melo, after Melo, Guys come here to get their shine on.
Yes.
You
Do you
know,
blame him?
back to Ray again. I think Curry has a 50 burger in the Garden.
Right.
Right? What we don't remember is the last play of the game as he's about to go, and I think the Knicks are protecting the lead up 1 or 2 or something like that. And he's about to, go for the win. Uncle Ray blocks his shot.
Yeah.
Raymond Felton blocked Steph Curry's jump shot.
Right.
Let's think about that for a second here. Right? Raymond Felton, a man who always had to work himself into condition.
Always.
Always. And that's, I ain't going to take, once a Knick, always a Knick. I'm not going to mess around with the man in his after basketball career and what he's chosen to, to look like. That's the man's business, right?
Right.
But as a player, as someone, had to work himself into that. Again, we're not thinking of him. We don't think of Ray as a defender.
Right.
Right? But as someone that was coming to get his shine on in the Garden and up to that point was getting his shine on, Ray at the end of the game blocked his shot. But to your point with Melo, when you see these guys come to town for a long time, guys come in here. I think doesn't what's my guy with the Clippers? Oh God, his name is skipping me right now. Point guard.
Chris Paul?
No, with the Clippers right now.
James Harden.
James Harden. Doesn't James Harden has a 50 burger triple double in the Garden?
Yeah, that was
I think he has a 60 burger.
Yeah, that was when he had the whistle though. That's when Harden. Do you remember that era when Harden had the whistle? Like Harden legit. Melo never had the whistle. And that's one of the points, like when I was going to try to get to that later, right? The great Knicks scorers of all time never had the whistle.
No.
Right? So when you see them score, they earned that, bro.
Not since the championships. Not since Clyde.
Bro, you ain't never, bro.
Not since Clyde.
There was an era of scorers where guys legit had, bro, I promise to this day, you can't even walk by Olajuwon to this day. He had the whistle, right? People think like, yo, Olajuwon was better than Pat. Well, Olajuwon had the whistle. Pat did not. Pat only got the whistle against Boston. For some reason, Pat had the whistle against Boston, but nobody else, which is weird. But when you look at Pat Ewing's great scoring games he scored against Boston, he had the whistle. Right there, I think there was a game where we saw I think we watched the double nickel game. Were you there when we watched the double nickel game on Playback TV?
No.
Okay, so the double nickel game, Jordan. Ironically, the player that got the whistle in that game was Pat Ewing, right? But for the most part, Pat never had the whistle. Melo never had the whistle, bro. Right? Some of these guys, James Harden. I excuse his scoring from the conversation because he had the whistle. Olajuwon, I excuse him I'd take him away from the conversation because he had the whistle. Right?
You true blue, Freezy.
Bro, no, I'm saying, but here is my control player in this equation. Like, I'm gonna name a player that's not a Knick that didn't get the whistle. Shaquille O'Neal never got the whistle. He didn't get the whistle until they legit blatantly called the ref, like, hey, I'm hacking Shaq. That's when he got the whistle.
It's hard to ref. You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. It's hard to ref a guy like that because you've only seen him once every 35, 40 years.
Right.
You understand? What do you do with that when you see a man that can jump slightly off of a foot? Not that he can't jump higher than that, but he can jump slightly more than a foot and tear down the backboard, rip down the extensions and all of that, the cords and all of that.
Yeah.
With just a little bit of
right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, how do you because you at first you're like, you're in awe.
Yeah.
When he did that in Jersey, we were in awe.
And,
Like,
and the part of that too, AD, is guys used to break the glass back in the day, right? Like you remember the old standard rim that Clyde and them played on, that Daryl Dawkins and them played on. Can you imagine Shaq playing on those? Bro, you would never finish a game.
You'd never finish a game.
Bro,
You'd never finish a game. It was the same thing with Wilt.
Yeah.
You never finish a game.
Yeah.
It's at one point why they had to outlaw. Well, they outlawed dunking for more than just that because they had never seen anybody break it. Right. Until Darryl breaks it. Right. And then Darryl started doing it. Darryl thought it was a game.
Yeah.
You know, because Darryl used to name his dunks. The swizzle hip. He had one called Your Mama.
Yeah.
He literally had a dunk called Your Mama. Right? So you can only know that that's you trying to do anything with this man-child who comes into the league at 18 years old at 6'10", and yeah, put your arm up there if you want to.
Bro, they thought he was gonna be Daryl Dawkins. You talking about somebody getting the most juice for the squeeze? With the fact that we're saying Daryl Dawkins' name right now for a dude that was basically a ham sandwich. Daryl Dawkins was basically a ham sandwich, bro. He was basically your first big off the bench.
No, right? He was better than that. He was a lot better than that.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up his. Okay, I'm gonna pull.
Yeah, you pull up his numbers. He's a lot better than that. But Daryl was known for. You know what it is with Daryl, and I'm gonna make what I think is the perfect correlation to today. Well, to a player, modern player. Daryl was Dwight Howard. Oh, in the sense of their man-childs early. Look at Daryl Dawkins at 18 through 26, 27. He's physically gifted, right? Athletically superior at that time. We're talking mid-70s to early 80s, right? But the correlation is they both really never took the game seriously.
Yeah.
Because if you pull up Daryl Dawkins right now, you'll probably find more interviews or more moments of him just being who he was, which was a jovial big guy.
That was my point. That was the point that I was going to get at.
Like, so that's Dwight Howard.
Right.
You
have more interviews of him and Roy. Remember Roy Firestone?
Yes. ESPN, Roy Firestone.
Yeah, when Roy Firestone used to come on, AD, I don't live in a city. Is WWOR still a thing?
No, because WWOR got sold out to, I think, UPN. Is it UPN 9 that bought them out? I'm not sure.
UPN, is it?
I think it's UPN that bought them out.
Because I remember.
But WWOR was channel 9.
Yeah, it was channel 9. Yeah, there was a time when UPN, the CW, and a bunch of new started buying out the old guys. So I didn't know. Okay, all right. I knew that happened here. I didn't know if that happened in the city or not.
Yeah.
But Daryl Dawkins for his career is a 12-point per game, 6 rebound a game guy.
But give me his prime numbers. He's a little better than that.
In his prime year, he scored 16 points a game.
It's a little better than that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He played on. Remember when he's in the league, he's playing with Doc.
Yeah.
World Be Free.
Yeah.
He's playing with all of these great. What was my guy with who coached Doug Collins over a #1 pick? Philly was stacked.
Philly was stacked, bro.
Right? They just could never win it. And a part of the problem was, because I heard Daryl talk about this, and I think it's one of the first times we ever really went in depth with Daryl Dawkins. Yeah. When they lose the Portland series, they're up 3-1.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Somehow, some way, something happened, and Maurice Lucas and Daryl Dawkins are literally old school hands up like this. And
Maurice Lucas was not a small guy either.
Oh no, he was not.
He might have been stronger than Daryl Dawkins, bro.
Once a Knick, always a Knick, because he played like a year here or two, right?
Yeah.
And that shifted the momentum of their series.
Yep.
Just because Mo stood up to Daryl, because like I said, Daryl was, but Mo was no small guy himself.
Maurice Lucas used to be our enforcer.
Yes.
Yeah, for the championship run. I think he for the championship run, late in the championship run, because I think he goes to Portland after he plays with the Knicks.
No, he goes to the Knicks after that. He's on the Knicks. Yeah. You're talking about Jerry Lucas.
Jerry Lucas is who I'm talking about. Yeah.
I'm talking about Maurice Lucas, who comes to the Knicks late in his career. I remember after the Knicks let him go. Can't remember what TV played on, but the Knicks had got Kenny Walker. Don't throw up. And Kenny Walker is zooming by Maurice Lucas, right? And Maurice can't catch up with him. Maurice is 36 years old at this time.
Yeah.
Maurice grabbed him by the back of his jersey. He looked like he driving a team of horses. Kenny's dragging Maurice. So finally the referee is like, all right, foul.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take this one. Yeah.
But to Daryl and Dwight, because I've always wanted to make this correlation to Daryl and Dwight. These are two guys that were physically, athletically superior for their time and any time. But to me, they just never took the game seriously to that point where if you're Howard and you're playing with, and I'm gonna throw Shaq in there for a little bit with this same kind of playfulness, big guy.
Right.
If you're Howard and you're playing with Kobe, and Kobe's all about karate and this and that and all of this, whatever.
Right.
And you out here trying to be Big Bird and Ernie at the same time. You trying to be Big Bird and Ernie at the same time. Kobe's looking at you going, fuck, who is this?
Right.
Right? Like this, he's not serious, doesn't take the game serious, and that's a lot of how Philly looked at Dawkins. Yeah. And how Dawkins kind of looked at them. Because in an interview, he says, well, we lost because the next time down, you ain't passing me the ball the last time, well, I ain't gonna pass you the ball. And they're having this on-court conversation.
Yeah.
While in real time while the game is going on.
Yeah.
You can't win like that.
No, and then he had a guy in his spot that kept him on the bench. I don't know if you remember this name or not, but a dude named George McGinnis. You remember George McGinnis?
McGinnis is the power forward.
Yeah, he was in Daryl Dawkins' spot. Yeah.
Right? McGinnis is the forward. They also had Caldwell Jones.
Yeah, they had Caldwell Jones. Yeah, he's not going to start over Caldwell Jones either.
They're stacked. See, just my overall point from a team they're just stacked, right? Is that Jay Boogie? Salute.
Salute Jay Boogie. Jay Boogie performing in the Garden on Christmas, everybody. I would advise going supporting if you can.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Jay Boogie, you got to bring us down on the floor with you, bro.
My guy, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. Let me know. Let me know. Absolutely.
We support Jay Boogie on Christmas.
Absolutely. We gotta. You know what? Let's we'll have a road to the Garden moment, right? Well, as we're getting closer and closer, we're gonna keep amping it up and ramping it up. Yeah. Absolutely. So you can go out and support Boogie, but back to that. Even with Shaq, a little bit or a lot of it, right? Mm-hmm. Shaq was like super playful. Again, you Kobe, you coming into the locker room and Shaq got 10 Big Macs. And you're gonna eat all 10. and you're gonna shit a brick before the game starts.
Yeah.
Because you can't play with 10 Big Macs on your stomach.
No.
Right? Kobe looking at you like, really?
Bro,
really, big guy?
Yo, true story, right? So, I got I don't want to call him a little man, but I got 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 a lit when we played basketball in Jersey City, man, I had moved on. I was playing at Dickinson, and my guy, he was a couple of years younger than me, right? Named Andre. Andre was like, bro, he was like, I think it's PS41. Shaq went to, I think, PS41 for like a year, or PS14 for like a year, right? And he was on a basketball. I can't remember, 41, 15. It's one of them. And my man Andre was like, yo, they got this, they got this African big man named Shaquille. But and Andre was a giant, bro. Andre the Giant, no pun intended. But Andre was like a giant, for the little kid. Andre was like 6'5" in ninth grade, right? And they had and I think Shaquille O'Neal was like 6'6", but he was like 200 pounds. And back in the days, if you were 200 pounds, you were a big human being if you were 200 pounds back in the day. And Andre was like, yo, I'm trying to box this dude out, and he keep trying to burp in my ear. I was like, Andre, what you say? He was like, yeah, this big motherfucker. Of course, he didn't say,
right.
You know what I'm saying? You know what words you know how people talk or whatever.
Right.
Like, yo, this dude trying to burp in my ear. I was like, he wasn't trying to burp in your ear, man. He's like, no. He grabbed me and was like, trying to burp in my ear. And I was like, this dude was playing like that during the game. He was like, yeah, he a big ass kid. Yeah, I was like, Andre, bro, don't never tell nobody that story, bro. Don't you never tell nobody that story.
It's just like, how do you referee that?
Bro, he was so big and strong and athletic, more so than everybody.
He could have been even better. Shaq could have been even better. And I know that's hard for people to understand. And I know that him and Shannon Sharp, for those who watch the show and so forth, they got into a little, tiff and tack because of, Shannon criticizing his career and him not taking himself physically serious. But when I say he could have been better, he just had moments and things in his game that if he had kept himself in better condition, kind of like the way I criticize Embiid now. But Shaq by that time had already been multiple champ.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. We just want, as selfish fans, we just want to see more of it. You understand what I'm saying? We want to see it prolonged. Because the one thing that, and I think for the fan and for the player, we get blindsided by this one thing right here. One day they get old.
Yeah.
He didn't see it coming. We didn't see it coming. Right? It's just like one day, like, oh my God, what happened? Like when you see him in his last days in Boston, when I think he goes for a rebound or something, you see Shaq sliding across the floor.
Right.
Like he was nothing.
Legs gone.
Legs gone, bro. I remember I was like, just looking on, I remember like going, like, Big, if you wasn't thinking about retiring before, okay, I'm going to help you out. It's done.
Yeah.
Okay? It's done. Like, you no longer that guy anymore.
Like Olajuwon when they went to those goofy Rocket uniforms.
No, when he went to Toronto.
Yeah, you remember? But I'm saying, you remember the bubble uniforms?
Yeah, I remember that. But I remember when he went to Toronto, it was.
He signed with Toronto. He didn't get traded there.
Yeah, because
I used to always think that he got traded. No, he signed.
No, he signed with Toronto.
Bro, that is ridiculous.
But Toronto needed. Well, they didn't need as far as publicity because they had Air Canada. Yeah. But they thought they can get a little bit less out of him. And they could match him and they would work. And that's you can't. One is a race car. And by this time, and one is a Pinto.
Right. I always felt like they brought him there for the mentorship. That's what I thought. Because they were building a franchise. Okay. They already had a young, bouncy center that was raw. They drafted in 96. He got there in 98. I think he got there in 98, 99, something like that. They had a bunch of young, talented dudes. Not even the main dudes. I'm talking about the guys like Junkyard Dog, Jerome Williams.
JYD.
They had Mo Pete. Remember Morris Peterson?
Yes, Morris Peterson.
They had a lot of young dudes.
Yes.
Alvin Williams.
Wasn't Butch Carter the coach at that time?
Chris Carter brother, yeah.
Yes, Chris Carter's brother, right. Yeah. Butch Carter was the coach at that time. Yeah. Man, they had a lot of young pieces but when it went for him, like to that point where we just made, it was over.
Yeah, because he had the heart condition at the end of his career. Right. He had trouble breathing. Remember he was missing weeks at a time with the breathing thing.
But we didn't notice with that. We're not really paying attention because we're seeing the 2000 guys are now coming into play.
Yeah, the Dirks are in the league, bro.
The Dirks are in the league,
are in the league.
And we're just not noticing that some of these guys are just fading away, and we need to, we need to really do a show on that.
Like Yakovich, bro.
Yakovich is coming in, like the fade out. Weber is like getting more into his prime years. Rasheed Wallace is into
Antonio
McDyess. Bro. Not Knicks McDyess. And I know that leaves a bad taste in Knick fans' mouth when we say, Antonio McDyess. Yeah. But Antonio, let me get it again. Antonio McDyess in Phoenix?
Yeah. Bro, he was a guard in a big man's body. The way, not his dribbling, not his ball handling. I'm talking about the way he moved. The way that man moved like at 6, whatever, he was 6'10".
He's 6'10", 6'11", easy.
Yeah. He used to move like a guard, bro.
Easy. And it just, when they made the trade, I'm glad you pivoted there. When they make the trade, which they made a couple. They got rid of Sprewell. They're getting rid of Canby. This is draft night when they get rid of Canby and, God, Jesus, why did I go there? Oh my God, I hurt my stomach just thinking about. I don't know why. Just thinking about Sweetney. Just thinking about Sweetney in the uniform. For real. I mean, for real. That Sweetney. Yo, let me tell you something. Me and my boy used to call him Slowfoot Sweetney. For obvious reasons.
Yes.
Yeah. Right? But McDyess was, when they made the trade, which is the GM at the time, Layden, right? Frank's son, right? It was busting up the last pieces of the 99 team.
Right.
They were really going away from it. Allen Houston was the only one that was still here. The McDyess for Canby and whatever and the multiple 3 team, I can't remember who went where and so forth. I think they drafted Nene, traded Nene and this one for that and whatever, right?
Yeah.
It made sense to me because I'm like, do you know who Antonio McDyess is? At that time, he was 20 and 11.
Easy.
Not 10, 11.
He might have been that on 9 shots.
Yeah.
Dude didn't even touch the basketball and got you 20.
But he had a beautiful point guard situations over there.
Well,
right? But he was still, even with a lesser point guard, he would still be able to get what he needed to get, just more difficult, right? It made sense. But we didn't know that there was a dark cloud ready to hover over the organization.
Oh, my God.
Because was it the first preseason game or the second preseason game? No. I remember him wearing Oakley's 34. If I'm incorrect, please someone in the chat tell me, right? And then when he got injured, it was like, day to day, missed 10 games, 10 days or whatever. And it just kept being 10 days.
It kept being 10 days, bro.
And 10 fucking days later. And 10 fucking days later. And 10. Then it was like, gone for the year.
Yep.
I don't think that man ever played a game for us outside of preseason.
No, he can't. I think he came back at the All-Star.
Did he come back?
Yeah.
For what? For what? 2 games?
I think he came back at the All-Star break, and then something happened, and something.
And he parked his car, got up and left.
He cashed them checks, bro. Bro,
Which
this shit make me so mad.
Why
you gotta be cussing on the podcast, bro? Oh my God.
Antonio McDyess, and it just, that cloud just seemed to hover over us for such a long period, right? But McDyess was a young star. It was the forwards at that time. They seemed like the West had all the great fours at that time, because they've got Rasheed Wallace, they've got McDyess, they got Dirk, they got Swole Miles Swift. Oh my God, KG was in the West. There were so many fours that was dominant in the West at that time. Gasol brothers, bigger brother Gasol is there at that time. There were so many dominant fours in the West.
Right. And all the whack ones were in the East. If you remember, Vin Baker couldn't stay in shape. Right.
What happened to Vin? What happened to Vin? Because Vin was an all-star.
Yeah, he was. He went through, and I hate to speak to stuff like this as
right, but he was going through something.
But he had not the social anxiety. He had the some form of mental illness, like emotional.
Okay.
I think it might have been like depression or something.
Okay.
Right. And those things are serious things that people deal with.
Right.
But when you're detached from it, and then you hear about it years later, it kind of puts you in that situation like, oh, that's why I didn't understand it in real time. Like the thing with Eddie Curry, that's why we didn't understand it in real time, because we didn't have awareness of what stuff was. Right?
What?
AD.
What you say?
AD.
Listen, what you say?
AD. I'm gonna say.
What you say?
The thing. Okay. The thing I'm gonna say.
What you say? So hold on. So I gave you Sweetney. You give me Eddie Curry. Is that what we're doing?
No, I got a better name. I'm trying to get to it. I'm trying to get to the better name. Like, like you are legit all over Mike Sweetney, but I never hear you talk about John Thomas. Ever. I never hear you talk about John Thomas, bro. If you want to go down the road of big, slow power forwards that can't jump, you remember, because there was a time. Remember when we had Weatherspoon and we had Weatherspoon and what's the other guy named
Weatherspoon?
We had Weatherspoon and another big power forward at the same time. And then they were like, well, those guys may have not been blah, 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 blah. So we'll just go get John Thomas out of Minnesota.
And
it didn't work. So then they were like, oh, it didn't work. We'll just go get Mike Sweetney out of Georgetown.
But the thing is, they drafted Sweetney number 9, I think. Was he? Or
in
7?
The LeBron draft.
In the LeBron draft.
That's our consolation. Yo, they get LeBron and we get Mike Sweetney.
Exactly. This is my thing, because Layden was the general manager at the time, right?
Yep.
Sweetney was a good, accomplished power forward with Georgetown.
Yeah.
Georgetown.
He played center at Georgetown.
Right.
Yeah.
At no point in time did he ever show that he had the discipline it took to get himself in shape. Like, you can only go around saying that's baby fat for only but so long.
Bro.
You see, at some point, Charles Barkley, somebody was Moses, told him you fat and you lazy.
Yeah. He cut to his face.
To his face.
And Moses pulled him to the bro. And the story goes, Charles Barkley says that man pulled him to the side and cussed him. All that talent, man. You fat and you lazy. You ain't gonna never be nothing in the league. And Moses can't even talk. So most of those words probably sound like Swahili.
Probably sound like Swahili. Playing up.
All the words.
Moses, somebody you wish there was text messaging going on back then.
Yo, can you
Another
imagine?
text Moses like,
Can you imagine him and Mickey Rivers having a conversation?
no, no, that's.
Yo, you don't understand.
No, that man couldn't get out, but to even Oliver Miller had gotten into reasonable shape to help Phoenix on their championship run.
Now, Oliver Miller one time got down to 280. He got down to about 280, which was
for him. That's wonderful.
Yeah, you remember Stanley Roberts got down to 300 pounds?
I don't think Stanley ever cracked 350.
No, he was in Minnesota. Minnesota gave that man like a bajillion chances.
Yeah,
right. They gave that man. That man got down to 300 pounds, and he had the best stretch of his career, but he couldn't maintain it.
There's no scientific proof in what I'm about to say, but just my overall experience in watching children and youth development over the years. Right. When you're a big guy, okay, and you don't have someone that's on your back,
right,
pushing you to help get your skills developed, and so you won't be sitting on the couch all day long eating another bag of Doritos, right? If you don't have someone that's gonna like be that engine to push you and just get behind you and like, look, you're wasting your talent. What are you doing?
Right.
You're gonna be in that guy in the bottom of the bag of the Doritos, wasting your talent.
Right.
Stanley Roberts is one of those guys. No disrespect to Stanley Roberts.
He was more skilled than Shaq.
There were a lot of guys. Luther Wright from Jersey City.
Bro, I know Luther, bro. I know basketball. I know him personally.
But here's the thing, though.
I used to know him. Me and a guy and some. I'm gonna name some names, but y'all probably don't know who these guys are. But me, a dude named Raphael Addison,
absolutely, Syracuse,
Luther Wright.
Absolutely.
David Rivers was like a big
Notre Dame,
like a big brother to us, right? Right. All these dudes, right? We all know each other. We didn't all live in the same neighborhoods, but everybody knew each other, right? Not just me, but you know, the Hurleys lived across town. So anyway, Luther Wright, bro, basketball was not his thing. But when you're athletic and you're big, people make you do it.
Do you remember? Well, of course you do. Well, for those who are out there in the crowd, do you remember when the Fantastic Four and a part of their member was the Thing? You remember at one point in time, I can't remember, the Thing started to become human.
Right.
And you saw what he would look like in like a human phases and form. That's kind of like what happened with Luther Wright the year after he got to Seton Hall. When he first got to Seton Hall, I'm like, who is this? But he kind of remind you that.
Yeah.
The next year, that man came back. That man had lost like 60 pounds.
Shredded.
Chiseled. Right? And I'm like, whoa. Seton Hall's about to go on a ride because this dude done took his, you know how hard it is to lose 5 pounds, let alone 60?
Yep.
Right? That man comes back in tremendous condition. Yep. And I'm thinking they're about to go, he's about to go, and then I never hear from Luther Wright ever again after that season.
Yeah, and they had a great center named Ramon Ramos, the Puerto Rican dude.
Oh, rest in peace. He got drafted by Portland.
He got hurt in the car accident.
Yeah, rest in peace. He was on that Seton Hall team that lost to Michigan.
Yeah.
That was a good team. That was a fun.
That was an underdog. And not to veer from the topic, but
that's what we do.
But excuse me, Seton Hall was not the best team in the conference. They were not even the best team in the tournament. But they played together, bro. They played together. That dude Ramon Ramos, you couldn't stop him, bro.
Ramos, Bryant, Andrew Gaze.
Yep.
What was my guy? Terry DeHare. What was my guy that was from he was from the Bronx. He was their point guard. Oh my God, he's Morton.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they had a collection of guys that they might not have been the best team, but up until that moment, they played the
They
best
played together.
together.
They beat Duke. They beat Duke
Yes,
in the Final Four.
yes,
Yeah.
shocking.
Yeah.
When they beat, shocked them.
Yep. 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 And Michigan knocked off the best team in the tournament. The best team in the country that year was Syracuse. That
Right.
89 Syracuse team, bro,
Yes, yes,
was
yes,
so stacked. People don't remember how great of a player Derek Coleman was, bro.
yes.
Derek Coleman, bro, was
But that
like,
but that Michigan team, because if you remember, I think the coach Lefty Drizel. No, not Lefty. Fisher. Fisher's the coach, but he takes over. They had some kind of something scandal, something going on, like right as the tournament was about to start. And Fisher is the assistant coach. He takes over, and they go on this Glenn Rice. For those
Terry Mills.
who don't remember Glenn Rice, oh dear God. Ooh, that man could flat out. I remember that man gave us 46 one day in the Garden. And he said, John Starks just kept talking to me.
Yeah.
He just kept talking to me. Right? That's all that's what I remember the post game after that was that John Starks just kept talking to me. That man could flat out. Woo! But that was a good Michigan team. But just to kind of, just to backpack a little bit or step back a little bit. When you have big guys like that, Freezy, and you're not ensuring or trying to help their development to the best of their abilities. You remember Dinner Bell Mel Turpin?
I remember.
That's the man's nickname.
Yeah,
Dinner Bell Mel.
right.
They had to assign an assistant coach to follow him throughout the day.
Yep.
Right? Because he had like a 2 Big Mac a day. He was like, yo, coach, I ain't going to go without my Big Mac. I was like, all right.
Bro.
You could have 2 for the day.
Bro, that he played for them in the era where Herb Williams was their best player. You remember Herb Williams?
I remember Michael Jordan dunking on Dinner Bell Mel. Right? And they were in Utah because he was with Utah at the time.
Oh,
and
okay.
And somebody screams out, "What?" Well, I think he dunked on someone first. I can't remember who he had dunked on. He dunked on somebody first, and somebody screamed out in the crowd that he heard, said, "Well, why don't you pick on somebody your own size?"
Yeah.
Couple plays later, there goes Dinner Bell Mel posted down in the lane like a tree stump.
Right.
And then Mike rose and cocked back and threw it on him, and he turned around to the crowd and was like, "Yo, is he big enough?" Dinner Bell Mel. Dinner Bell
Hey,
Mel.
but I want to mention something to you when you mentioned the greatness of or when you mentioned Antonio McDyess. And when you mentioned Antonio McDyess, bro, I think back to his college team. Do you remember the college team he played with?
Who he played with again? Oh God!
He played with Alabama. I'm talking about.
Yes.
I'm talking about the players that he played with on that team.
Oh, that's Horry.
That's Sprewell.
He played with oh my God! They had a squad.
That's Judd Bushler. That's Hollywood Robinson.
Yeah, he played with a squad.
Bro, yeah, man.
He played with a squad. Those early 2000s, man. I mean, it was
mid 90s.
Well, yeah, because he gets drafted in the 90s, but we should really do a show on the early 2000s and the evolution of the game as it's moving. As I remember, because I don't want to call myself an old head back then, but I was kind of like an old head in my thinking.
Right. Well, old head is a mentality. It's not age requirement.
Yeah. I'm really like back then because I didn't understand. I'm a hip hop baby, right?
Right.
But I didn't understand the total shift as young people are kind of, injecting who they are.
Right.
And as the league is now gravitating to this, right? But at the same time, they're punishing the guys for being who they are.
Right. Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. And I'm not the biggest Allen Iverson fan, right? Because I thought just that lack of discipline and accountability wasn't the message that the youth of the day or any day needed to see. But he was kind of like that generation's poster child of we're gonna do what we want.
Right.
Like when he said practice, we're talking about practice. I was one of those people going like, what?
Yeah.
You don't want to practice? Then how you gonna get better?
I thought it was funny, bro. To me, I thought it was funny. I didn't even know one way or the other, but I get what you're saying.
I was not. I back then I'm like, because remember for us, for a 10 to 15 year period, all we tried to do was to kick the door down.
Right.
So if it meant we're gonna practice, we're gonna do whatever,
Right.
As a fan, I'm marching in line because there's nothing more important than winning the championship.
Right.
But we forget that we were all young once.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
And you give a young man a pocket full of money or 20 pockets full of money.
Yeah.
And you don't teach him what to do with it.
That's not their responsibility, bro.
It's
That's not their responsibility. Right? You can't, bro. Imagine if your boss came to you and gave you a check and then told you what to do with it. It's not their responsibility. It's his support staff's responsibility to do those things.
But I'm the one who drive the revenue.
So what?
If I'm not here, there's no interest. And if there's no interest, there's no money. And if there's no money, why are you here?
Hey, AD, I hate to break it to you, bro, but there will always be another Allen Iverson, bro.
You're right. You're right. But isn't it the reason why the NBA started this campaign and the NBA? Remember that the NBA cares,
yeah,
and all these conferences and them talking to young players entering the game, and older guys are trying to be more of a mentor and so forth. Because remember, like I said, a lot of these cats, young, brothers, and not even just the brothers, because a young man is a young man is a young man is a young man.
Bernie
right?
Kosar went through the same thing, bro. We got to relate.
Bernie Kosar pops got $1 million.
Yep. Like, bro, it's everybody. When you pour and you come into money, people change around you because they feel like, hey, if he made it, we all made it. Kinda, right? But the thing with Iverson, to your point, and I get it. The NBA helped put devices in place for those that needed help and seek help and listen to the help provided. But if you didn't accept the help, what is the NBA supposed to do? They can't tell you how to spend your money. They can't. It's the same conversation we had with boxers. Remember when I told you when boxers have to come up, they fight one time and they get $15 million? What I would have did, bro, if I was the boxing commissioner, I'm paying you $15 million in a 20-year annuity, right? You're not going to blow all this money at one time. And if interest comes with it, like if it's $15 million plus interest, so be it, right? So if it's $15 million plus $2 million of interest that you get $17 million over 20 years, so be it. But I'm helping you maintain a thing, but life is not like that. Life, Uncle Freezy is not in charge. Anthony D is. Oh, I'm sorry. Still, the real AD is not in charge, right? It's one of those things where you have to give them their money and wish for the best. You didn't see, bro. We already saw the cautionary tale with Michael Ray Richardson, bro, and also.
But if you don't, all right, to this point, remember, I was never a big fan of this guy because he robbed the Knicks. But if Stern and his people don't come in and clean up the game from the 70s, going into the 80s, we're not here today. At some point in time, you have to protect people from themselves. Remember, they gave Michael Ray Richardson like 8 chances. In today's era,
You're right.
maybe 1.5.
Look at what's the guy named OJ Mayo. Look at OJ Mayo. They gave him 2 or 3 chances, and he is gone for banned. Roy Topley, remember Roy Topley?
They gave Roy a bunch of chances.
And you know who they gave a chance? They were like, bro, you mess up one more. And people don't know this. They don't know the inside story, but they gave that man one more chance, and he wound up getting traded to Golden State. It's a dude named Bernard King, who used to play for the Utah Jazz. He got traded to Golden State, right? And they were like, yo, we hearing all this stuff, bro. If this stuff is true, like, hey, you can't tell me I'm a grown man, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you're going to get sat down. Remember, he got sat down in Utah. I think they sat him down in Utah, right? He go to Golden State, it revive his career a little bit, but he's still drinking. And they're like, yo, we got to get him out of Golden State, bro. We'll swap an alcoholic crashing in the cars in the street, going to jail for a dude that's a druggie that's missing games, and Michael Ray Richardson. And to his credit, Bernard King got to New York, and you never heard about his alcoholism after that.
That's basically what it was. They flopped. They switched one bad apple, so to speak, for another bad apple.
And not saying that they're bad people, because Michael Ray Richardson is a great person. Right. He a great person now. He on the circuit doing things, trying to help others, and by sharing his story and all of that stuff. And Bernard King is also a great, very kind. You can tell he still got some Fort Greene in him. Know when you walk up on him funny, yo, what's good? King, what's good? Yeah, he's got the Brooklyn in him, right? So you can't just.
No, but, I mean that because that man had, he had a lot of, let's just say, lonely nights. Right. Because I saw his documentary, the 30 for 30, with him and Ernie Grunfeld some years ago. Yeah. And so forth. Especially as a young man, you're down south. You're not from the South. You've probably never left Brooklyn, New York before in your life, right? And all these people are telling you they love you, they love you, they love you, they love you, they love you. When the game is on, and then when you're practicing, they love you, they love you, they love you, they love you, they love you. But when you just cruising around the neighborhood, the police pulls you over and they put a gun to your face or a gun in your mouth. I can't remember what he says. Yeah. But it charred him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like when you cold and you on fire and you charred.
Yeah, it's a part of society, bro.
It's now a part of you. And it doesn't leave him for a very, very, if it all left him.
It probably didn't.
But it probably helped him to be, as resilient as he was. Yeah. As a scorer, because remember something, or for those who don't remember, Bernard misses 2.5 years of his prime career. Yep. His prime. Right? And this is back then when we didn't know about the MCL and the PCL and the DCL and interior and the meniscus.
All we knew was knee.
All we knew was knee.
That's all we knew. Knee. We didn't even know he had ligaments in it, bro. We didn't know that. I thought the knee was a bone. I thought the knee was just a bone floating in your leg. I didn't know it had. I knew.
And that thing that floating particles that and all these things. And as a young kid, this is my guy. Yeah. And I'm like, and then I'm kind of like that kid in Shame all over again. Like where are you?
This is where we part.
Bernard, where are you?
See how he do me, y'all. So he knows Michael Ray Richardson is one of my favorite Knicks of all time, right? So he discards my feelings and Michael Ray Richardson.
Oh yeah,
King for 208 games.
Yeah. Those were 208.
Frank Ntilikina has played more games as a Knick than Bernard King, bro. Just saying. I'm just saying, and I like Bernard King, bro, and
Woo!
I respect Bernard
I think
King,
my heart skipped 2 beats when
bro.
you mentioned Frank and Bernard in the. You might as well just said Frank and Beans.
Games, bro.
You might as well just said Frank and Beans. You mentioned Frank Ntilikina and Bernard King in the same sentence.
I understand, bro. I
Mm,
understand.
mm, mm, mm. But anyway, Feezy, I do got to run. So, shall we have one more devastating question? Because you know you always like to throw one question in there before we wrap up.
I don't know if I have a question per se, but I know I do have a feeling about something.
Uh-oh.
I have a feeling about
Uh-oh.
Sixers fans thinking their team is better than us. It's driving me out of my mind right now, bro.
We
They
should
look
put.
good.
We should have a Sixers fan come on one day. We
I,
still waiting for Rel. Rel, were you in hiding, Rel?
yeah. So Eat Sleep Sixers is a part of our brotherhood, bro.
Okay.
And I want to get them to, because I've been over on their channel. I think I was over on their channel. No, BG came over here once on a Friday night.
Okay.
Right. But what's bothering me, and no disrespect to the Sixers fan base, what was bothering me is that they put together this hodgepodge of a roster, and now Knicks fans are supposed to feel threatened. I don't get it.
I mean, we should be leery of them, right?
Bro,
We
they
should.
nobody.
We should be. Yeah, they nobodies, no doubt. I'm there with you. But in the spirit of competition in our division, in our conference, they won't be walkovers. They won't be walkovers. As much, Paul George is your heartstring.
Yeah,
I remember. I remember. I just mentioned Paul George to the Knicks 2 months ago. You almost lost it. You literally almost lost
heart
it.
still fluttering like. Yeah.
So Paul George is a good player. He's never done what he was supposed to do. I think in a couple of places or whatever, but they've managed to put together a couple of interesting pieces around the man that's never in shape. They'll be interesting. We're not afraid of them, no, but they'll be interesting. Yeah,
They ain't gonna be interesting, bro. We gonna steamroll. And no disrespect to Philly, because I respect
that's
my guys.
the sound up there, baby. What are you talking about? That's the that's all that the whole Philly sound up there. Those are Philly brethrens up there. They done gave us gambling. What's the producers gambling?
Huff.
Gambling Huff. They done,
Patty LaBelle.
Patty LaBelle. I mean,
Boys the Men.
Well, I love Busted Men. But we're not gonna put the peg.
But the thing about the Philly team, bro, is if we're talking about names on paper, names on paper, right? But if we're talking about like this season going forward, nah, bro. Nah, Philly ain't in the league with us. Quite honestly, I don't even think, bro. Okay, so here's the brass tacks. Brunson is great, and he's gonna stay great for a long time. Brunson is a megastar. He's gonna be a megastar for a long, long time, right? OG and Anunoby, bro. Come on, man. Tyrese Maxey or Paul George, they have to face Mikal Bridges and OG and Hart and Dante all night long, bro. But the weapon, the underrated superhero all the time, is always our Hulk. We have Julius Randle, bro. If Julius Randle is healthy, he's a top 4 power forward in the league and probably a top 10 forward in the league. Teams don't have that at their disposal, bro.
Yes.
For however great Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby are, their resume is nowhere close to what As a matter of fact, As a matter of fact, I said this to I think I said it to coach. I can't remember. But if Julius Randle makes the All-Star team again this year and makes all NBA again this year, as much as we don't want to say it, we have to start the Hall of Fame conversation for Randle. I'm not saying he's a shoe-in. I'm not saying he's a shoe-in, but I'm saying we have to consider Randle going. And I know there are people are gonna say, like, yo, nah, man, Randle not Hall of Fame, man. He might, bro. Chris Webber didn't have his best season until he was 31 years old. Chris Webber was 31 when he had his best season and Sacramento with the Sacramento Kings.
Yes.
Right. So the thing is with Randle, if he continues on this path of making all-star games, and if the league continues on this path where there are no longer guys, classic traditional power forwards in the league, Randle is gonna always in this era. Like for instance, Randle is not playing in an era where he's playing with Karl Malone, Terry Cummings, Chris Webber, LaFonso Ellis, Sharif Abdul-Rahim. Guys that are Randle size are now playing center, right? Randle at 6'8.5", whatever you want to call him, 250. Randle is a very skilled 250-pound man with the heart and energy to play in New York City. But Anthony D and I, an hour ago, named a whole bunch of power forwards the same size as Randle and talked about what they looked like. We mentioned John Thomas. We mentioned Clarence Weatherspoon. We mentioned Mike Sweetney. We mentioned all these guys and what they looked at 6'8", 250 plus. And when you look at Randle at 6'9", 6'8", 6'9", 250, Randle looks like legit a blown up small forward. The one thing you can't say is Randle comes into camp out of shape. Randle is elite in elite shape right
You know
now.
what? You know what, Freezy? I like the Weber comparison. Very fair, right? Because Weber doesn't start coming into his own, or because remember he had wasted moments in
Washington.
Washington. Why the Golden State got rid of him? Well, they didn't get rid of him. They had a stupid clause in his contract where he could be a free agent after his first year or something like that, or his second year. But that's a good take. But here's the thing, though, for all of Chris Webber's, I'll even say he's had displayed very, very good moments. Chris Webber, we've been knowing about Chris Webber since he was 16, 17 years old, a man-child, right? All we remember Chris Webber about, or at least myself, is that he kept coming up short in the big moments. That Game 7 Sacramento, LA. If they didn't have Bibby, it wouldn't have been even that close in that last game.
Right.
For all of his, because he was one of the best power forwards of his generation. Randle is one of the best power forwards of his generation.
Right.
It doesn't matter if we can't count on you when the going gets tough.
Right.
Okay? It will not matter. So all of this Hall of Fame and you go ahead. You go ahead.
Right.
You go ahead. If Randle don't come back in April and puts on not even a show, but is a part of winning a championship, you hear me? Now really a part of something, and we're gonna come back here next year, this time, God willing, and have the same conversation about Julius Randle. No, we're not gonna do that.
Right. And so I understand where you're coming from, and I appreciate that. Right. But has Bernard King ever been to the NBA Finals? No. So why do we talk about Bernard King and Hall of Fame?
Because Julius Randle ain't Bernard King.
You're right. You're right. Bernard King is definitely not Julius Randle. You are absolutely correct. Right. You're absolutely right. And I think both of those guys, if Randle continues on his path, I think 30 will get retired twice, just like number 12.
And on that note, ladies and
Yep.
gentlemen, thank you
So,
for
so
joining us.
and here's the other thing to it too, right? If Pat Ewing didn't make the finals until Pat Ewing was 30, and then he didn't make the finals again until he was 35. And Julius Randle turns 30 in November. And so if we're talking about if we're
30
talking
is the
about
magic number?
if we're talking about a fair, if we're just talking about a fair conversation, setting our biases aside, if we have a comparison that's equal across the board, we can't say that about Randall coming up short when you saw Pat Ewing miss that finger roll rebound in '95. Right. There were some times Pat Ewing, and I love Pat Ewing. I think Pat is the GOAT. I think Pat Ewing is the greatest center of all time. Right. You know that. I don't even have to explain it. Right. I'm just not making this up for this conversation. We've been having this conversation for 5 years, bro. Pat Ewing is the greatest center of all time.
Freezy, moments matters.
AD,
moments matters, Freezy.
No, bro, teams matter. One person is not going to win a championship. Look at Dominique Wilkins.
Yes, but there's times when you expect for those. There's going to be times where you're going to expect for that guy to show up. Right. Randall has yet to show up when it matters the most for us, and it's been whatever. At some point in time, he's going to have to show up before we put his name with those guys that are in the pantheons of Nick.
But AD, that's what I said though. The premise was he's got to either or get better. That was I started it with if he makes the 4th All-Star team and 3rd All-NBA thing. Remember, I started the paragraph with that.
I know, but you lost me with retiring and Hall of Fame, and you just.
Bro, what I'm saying now, what I'm saying ultimately, what I'm saying is you have to give. For instance, when Pat Ewing got to New York, you had to give the Knicks time to build a team around Pat, and it didn't just happen in 1 year. Pat got here, and 9 years later, Pat was in the finals. Bernard King got here, and we were headed on a way where if you could just build around Bernard King, then we probably would have been in the conversation, but we didn't get a chance to see Bernard King, and because his prime years were taken away. So we couldn't add a Len Bias to that. We couldn't add a Brad Daugherty to a Bernard King. It was taken away from us before his injury. And I'm saying the same thing with Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. We have to Jalen Brunson has only been a Knick for 2 years. Right? Josh Hart has only been a Knick for a year and a half. Dante has been a Knick for a year. OG Anunoby has been a Knick for half a year. Mikal Bridges has not played 1 single second as a Knick. And we got to keep these things in mind when we talk about Julius Randle. Bro, when Julius Randle got here, his point guard rotation was Elfrid Payton, Wayne Ellington, Austin Rivers, Dennis Smith. I mean, come on, bro. We got to relax on the Randle thing, bro. We got to give this man time.
Well, we're not killing him, but like when you're parked in a public parking meter, at some point in time, your parking privilege from what you put into that meter expires.
Right. And I agree. I agree. So is this moment an urgent moment for Randle?
Urgent like a mole.
Yeah, but it's also urgent for the guys around him too, because you don't bring these guys in here to solve an equation to give them the rest of their life to solve it. They're here for a purpose
as well.
Yeah.
So that's fair. Well, let's leave it there, Freezy. Thank you very much for joining Freezy and myself once again on a Sunday. We don't know where this journey started, but we know where it ended. It ended with you.
Yeah. Look out your window. Did you say Garvey?
Oh, on the 135th birthday of the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, look for us in the whirlwind.
Peace. Yeah. Look out your window. Knicks fans is on your block. Y'all know the Knicks run the city. Pull them shades back. Look out your window. Look down there on the block. That's Knicks fans right there. It's about that time. It's about that time of the week where you get ready for your work week with the man that is so smooth. He does not require a chaser. Your main man, the real Anthony D, and your